Alrighty then, how's it going, guys? And welcome back to another attempt at a vlog. Fifth attempt so far. We'll see how we go this time. So today I wanted to discuss about the importance of not belittling a job, right? And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, I've been in Malaysia now for coming up on 12 years, which is a decent clip for anybody. And one thing that I've definitely noticed about the, Malaysian attitude towards jobs is that if it is not a job which is granted through studying at university or like a philanthropic, endeavor, starting your own business, that sort of stuff, people look down on you. Especially in retail, F&B, laboring jobs. There's this sort of like attitude towards these sorts of jobs, which is like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's a job for a foreigner, and that just really bothers me. I started in F&B at the bottom, washing dishes. I was a kitchen hand. That was my first job. And over the years, I've applied myself to my craft, to my industry, and I've worked my way up to a general manager. I know how to run a restaurant. I know how to run a bar. I know how to do budgeting. I know how to do cost control. I know how to do HR. I know how to do marketing. I know how to do events, etc., 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 etc. How do I know this? Because I learned on the job. I didn't go to university to study it. I didn't sit in a classroom and read books. I learned this by doing the job. Nobody ever taught me anything. And I'm proud of my accomplishments. I've worked hard to get where I am today. And it really bothers me that in Malaysia, it's now getting harder and harder and harder to find locals who are willing to get into the F&B industry because of this sense that it is not a job for a local person. It's a job for the uneducated. It's a job for the dirty. It's a job for the dumb. This is not the case. F&B is a very, very challenging job. Very challenging. There's a lot of stuff that you got to think about. It's like requires physical fitness, attention to detail, endurance, and it's just like a few things amongst many others. It is not an easy job, especially when you're working in an industry where, depending on the outlet that you're working in, you might be abused almost every single day by the customers, by other employees, by your bosses. F&B is not an easy industry, and yet there's this sort of like prevalent ideology in Malaysia, which is like it's a dead end job. It's a pleb job. It's for it's something that nobody should aspire to do. But that doesn't make any sense. Why? If I can make it to a general manager position, and bear in mind, I am not an academic. I have never excelled in my academic achievements throughout my entire life. Didn't do well in primary school. Didn't do well in high school. Yes, I went to university, but didn't do well there either. Never even finished my degree. Decided, why am I doing this? I'm wasting my money. And then I dropped out, and decided to focus on my career in hospitality instead. And yes, I know, it is not the most glamorous career. And no, most likely you're not going to make an absolute crap ton of money. Doesn't mean you can't. There are people in this world that have really, really perfected the craft of being a waiter and demand huge salaries because of that. But yes, in general, it's not a particularly glamorous job, but it doesn't mean it's not important. It doesn't mean that it should be looked down on, and it certainly doesn't mean that if you're employed as a waiter, that you should be subject to the criticisms of other people because they consider themselves higher than you because they went to university. Anybody can go to university these days. right? But it's not necessarily the right thing for everybody. Everybody is smart in their own way. Some people are really good at learning from books, at studying and other things like that. Other people, like myself, are not. We learn from doing. And it ultimately just comes down to your desire to succeed and achieve your goals, right? My goals are always shifting. I go from step to step to step to step to step. The one thing that I don't do, I don't go backwards and I don't go down. I'm always going up and forwards. That is my philosophy in life, is that I will never go backwards. And that philosophy has driven me to where I am today. So it just, what I'd really like to see is I'd really like to see a change in people's perceptions of jobs and work, and for people to stop putting down others because they perceive that the job that person is doing is not as important as their job. Because at the end of the day, every job is important. Without garbage men, we'd be screwed. Without labourers, we'd be screwed. Without mechanics, we'd be screwed. Without plumbers, we'd be screwed. Right? Without lawyers, I think it could be argued we'd probably be better off. Anyway, that does it for me today. Until next time, have a good one.